The final project in this class is actually a weeks-long project that starts early in the first month of class called the Portfolio Project. And what it is basically a real or imagined company that you create many different items for. So this could be a totally imagined company. It could be a real company that needs a redesign, your own company, whatever the case may be. But you need to really think about this because you're going to have to create all of these different products. So for instance, let's say it's a mechanic shop. You can create a style sheet where you have the logo, the colors, the fonts you're going to use. You can create a logo design, the business card, but can you create an event poster? What kind of event would a mechanic shop hold? If you're doing a restaurant, what kind of brochure? Maybe it's a takeout brochure, so maybe you do have something you can create for a restaurant, but what kind of newsletter or event poster would a restaurant have? Now, that doesn't mean that a restaurant couldn't have those things, and maybe you can be really creative with it, but you're going to have to create those for all, or create all of these for that company, so make sure you have an idea for all of them. And it's not just creating a design newsletter, you actually have to write the content for the newsletter, so make sure it's also something that you are interested in enough to create the content for it. So before we get into the style sheet, I wanted to show you an example from a previous student named Regina, her entire project. So if I zoom out, this is her entire project. And this is great. This is why we call it a portfolio, because it's great for your portfolio to show consistent styling and branding across many elements. So let me go ahead and zoom in. And the first project that you create is a style sheet. And this is really what's going to start driving that brand and all of the products created from it. And it's basically choosing your fonts. She chose basically the same font but had a rounded version, which I actually recommend giving yourself at least 2 for variety and no more than 3 or 4, actually 4, unless you really have a reason, probably 2 or 3. And then your colors, and notice that she put the CMYK, RGB, and hex code. CMYK is for professional printing, RGB is for desktop printing, like if you just want to print it out on your desktop printer, and the hex code is for websites. So if you were to give this style sheet to your web designer, they could start incorporating these colors and making sure it's the specific colors of your brand. Like Coca-Cola red is a specific type of red, and you can't use any other type of red on their website or products that are created for them. So the second product is to create a logo. So you can create this in Illustrator and then put it into InDesign. It does have to be, the final product has to be in InDesign, and you're actually going to end up creating this after the style sheet, but eventually you'll want to add it to your style sheet here. This is just many different examples of that logo using the brand colors. So what it will look on white, what will it look like on black, what will it look like with color, etc. So then we have the letterhead and business card, and this is something that I told her this would be extremely hard to print a letterhead that's black because you can't print white ink. So even though this is a cool design, just know that this is the one mistake with this project. So it does have to be white letterhead, so you can make it any of these other colors and it would be better. And then this, you can send to a professional printer and have this work. So this is where I would leave this design, but this is a business card front and back. Then we have a print ad, so ignore this for right now. So the print ad is like what would go in, what is that, 303 magazine or 5280, I can't remember, or Westward, or any of the publications. What would the print ad look like? And usually it's always going to have a website, so make sure if it's a fake company that you create a fake, not that you create a fake website, but that you're always still including that even if it's not really a real functioning website. And then this is an event poster, so it has to be an event. So it's important that it's an event because there are certain things that should be included on an event poster. And then we have a brochure. So this, again, it's all about fashion, so it's showing more of the examples of fashion and behind the scenes. And again, you have to create all of this content, so make sure it's something you have content for or can create content for. And last but not least is a newsletter, so it could be quarterly and annual newsletter to like stakeholders. If you've got fans for your business or company, then maybe this is a new newsletter for them. So again, you have to create all the content for that, so make sure, again, that you find it interesting. So that is something that you will work on throughout the weeks of this course. So that's why I'm showing you it now, because pick the right company to save yourself heartache. If it's not something you can create a brochure or an event poster or a newsletter for. All right. So when you're creating your style sheet, there are a couple things that I recommend setting up, and I expect that you will organize this in your own way and design it in your own way. This is not like a required the way that you have to do it, just the elements are required. So later on, you will create a logo, and I would pop it in this, but right now you can just kind of have a placeholder for it. You should always give me a business description, because like when Regina sent hers to me, it didn't even say fade to bats. So I had no clue what those colors, what business those colors were going to be used for. So like if you had a mechanic shop and you said the colors are purple and pink, there has to be a good justification, because generally we don't see purple or pink in a mechanic shop. Now, if you're like a woman-owned mechanic shop and your primary audience is you're trying to target women who want to come in and get service and ask questions, whatever, like if you have a justification for it, that's fine. So that's why I'm asking you to give me a short business description. I don't want to read a ton of content. If you can't explain it in 2 sentences, then you probably need to rethink the business idea. So then you're going to create your primary and secondary font choices. So as you can see, my brand for my home college is right here. I put all the colors in here, and I have specific fonts that we use. So mine is Helvetica Neue. So I'm going to come in here and say the primary font is Helvetica Neue. And then I'm actually going to change all of this, actually all of it, to Helvetica Neue, and make sure it is, well, I want that. And then I want this to be regular. Well, let me just pretend it's your brand. So let's pretend that you wanted to use American Typewriter, and then I would put American Typewriter. And you can see that I'm showing what all the capital letters, all the lowercase, all the numbers, and most of the frequently used symbols look like. Because if you get a font downloaded from the internet, sometimes they don't design these, and you're going to regret that later when they don't design like the numbers and you're trying to put dates and times onto like your event poster. So that's why it's a good idea to make sure that all the characters you need are showing here. And then usually what I do is I just add some tracking into all of this to add just some space between all of the different letters. And maybe I'll make that a little bit more. So same thing here. If you have a secondary font, again, 2 fonts good, 3 fonts if you have a reason, but if you have anything more than that, you really have to have a good reason. So secondary font, maybe it is Helvetica Neue. A good rule of thumb is if your font up here is a serif, then a good pairing is always going to be a sans serif. If you have a display font, make sure you have a really easy to read secondary font for the body. So look up font pairings on Adobe Fonts if you are having trouble with that, or let me know if you have any questions or you want some suggestions. So then in terms of the colors, you can see I already have mine saved in my documents. Any InDesign document I pull up, it automatically brings these up, so that's why it looks different than yours. But through that tutorial, through the exploration module, you are going to create new color swatches, like CMYK swatches. So let's say you want a little bit more blue, and let's see, more blue. Like let's say you wanted this color. So this is showing your CMYK values, 81, 16, 21, 73. So you can take a screenshot of this or just type it in here. I'm never going to remember that, so just pretend I typed that in there. And then if you click OK, it's going to add that swatch to this document. And then if you say your primary color is, say, this. Now, if I want to find the other ones, the RGB and the hex value, what I'm going to do is double click on this color. So again, yours would show CMYK, not Pantone. And you're going to come up here and choose RGB. And this is where you can see the RGB, the 3 numbers that make up RGB. So you type those there. And then this is your hex code. So this is what you would use for websites, okay? Or digital products. Yes, okay. So filling out all of those things, make sure that then you can print this sheet out. If you're actually designing for this brand, you can print this sheet out and always just be able to type those numbers really quick. For me, I actually save all of them as a swatch library, Adobe Swatch Exchange. So then I can load the swatches in here. So like if I go to load my swatches, I can go to, where's all my logos? Logo, and see how I have this thing called ASE, an Adobe Swatch Exchange. If I were to open it, it would basically just load. That's how I got these in here. It would load that in here. So if you ever want to mess around with Adobe Swatch Exchange, look that up and it'll have a tutorial on how to do that. So then if you have secondary colors, so truly like for my brand at the college, these are our primary colors. And then I have secondary like blue values and secondary like darker and lighter yellow values. So then I would add that information there. Now you could have one dominant color and then just like two pops that you might use here and there. You can have two dominant colors. I wouldn't have three dominant colors. And I would always add secondary colors. And secondary colors don't always have to be like values of this. So when we talk about color, we can also use that color wheel, so we can do complementary colors, tertiary colors, and just choose one as the dominant and the other two where we might add just a little bit of pop here or there. So my actual tertiary colors or pops of color are like not a salmon, but like a coral red. So that, and it goes really well with these colors, but I didn't have them in my Pantone swatches because I don't use them that much. So that's basically what you're going to do for your style sheet, is you are going to set it up how you organize this. If your logo is showing up here and you have your colors and your font, or maybe your colors go this way and your font goes this way, that's totally fine. But I actually need to see all the characters in that font style that you're using. You need to name that font, because if for some reason I can't see this actually tells me what the font name is so that I can go out and find it. And I definitely need this description, especially if it's not something that's obvious. And even if it's not, even if it is obvious, it's just a good idea to have a short synopsis of what the business is. So I think that's it. If you have any questions, let me know.